Hey everyone, my first love letter video essay is about wuxia films, which are a subgenre of the martial arts film. The martial arts scenes depicted in wuxia films mostly consist of sword fights versus the hand-to-hand combat most people are familiar with through kung fu films. Now, the word wuxia literally means martial heroes, and the films are indeed mostly focused on warriors in ancient Chinese settings. Now, many wuxia films are adapted from literary works of famous novelists such as Gulong, Jinyong, or Liang Yusheng. And wuxia works have grown to include the full spectrum of media, from Chinese opera to TV series or comics or even video games. Most wuxia stories are actually about a hero of some kind who roams the Jianghu. This Chinese word literally translated means rivers and lakes. And it's basically, you can say, the greater world of outlaw martial artists, which is the stage on which usually the plot unfolds. And most of the times the heroes are sword masters, often of a lower social class, that fight thieves, corrupt government officials, and injustice, and protect the oppressed innocent. In many ways, this kind of makes them comparable to the cowboys or gunslingers in the Wild West, or the samurai or ronin of Japanese chanbara movies, the swordplay movies set in ancient Japan. Now, heroes in wuxia films usually follow a form of martial or personal code of honor, much like the Japanese samurais, Bushido. And now that you got a basic idea what wuxia films are about, I want to tell you what fascinated me as a Westerner when watching these films. To me, wuxia films convey three things: aesthetics, ethics, and intensity. Now let's use scenes from what I consider, some of the best wuxia films to go through those three aspects. Even a complete newcomer to Hong Kong cinema, and wuxia films in particular, cannot deny the inherent artistic and aesthetic elements of this genre. Um, Now, the elements of film aesthetics include camera angles, lighting, color grading, and set design, among others, right? And it is film aesthetics that help to create the mood or tone that convey emotions and tell a story visually. Hairstyles, you might have noticed both men and women were having long hair, with some hairstyles also featuring buns. Now, this is because not cutting one's hair was considered filial piety in Confucian ideology. When we talk about the outfit, the Hanfu, which is a traditional Chinese garment. Now, in ancient China, Hanfu was not just clothing, but a reflection of one's social standing, which was reflected in every fold and color of the fabric. Here you can see it summarized in a very concise way. Now, King Hu was my very first touch point for wuxia films, and is still up to now my favorite director for this genre. His sumptuous nature shots that transported you into mystical environments were really second to none, I think. And if you think about frames of the landscapes, they were really perfectly arranged in visual harmony. I would say this tendency surely came from the fact that Hu was also an artist. He was very skilled in Chinese ink painting and calligraphy. In fact, the opening credits of wuxia classic Dragon Inn were painted by Hu himself. As opposed to King Hu, who shot his films mostly in real places around Taiwan, Chor Yuen's wuxia films were mostly shot inside the Shaw Brothers studios. Now, this was due to the fact that Hong Kong was becoming more and more congested during the 70s because of the expanding landscape of the city's urban and economic miracle. So finding credible outdoor locations, we can say with a great natural scenery, was surely much more difficult in Hong Kong. So the constructed sets were really, you can say, emblematic for the Shaw period-themed films of the 70s in particular. Nonetheless, as we can see in films such as Heroes Shed No Tears or Heaven's Sword and Dragon Saber, these artificial sets did, however, have their own flair, and even though they were limited in terms of space, they did really stretch much into distance when you look at certain frames, as we can see here. And compared to King Hu's aesthetics, Chor Yuen himself said he never was looking for realism in his wuxia films. He simply wanted to convey his own vision of aesthetics. Now, his natural environments felt straight out of a sorcery or fantasy flick with its, fake mists, moonlight, and exaggerated colors. The latter really hinting at, you can say, the tone of the scene and the mood of the character, as we can see in here. Now, looking at both background scenery and clothing, I would say that the film Hero, directed by Zhang Yimou, brings these two aspects to a whole new level. And we could do a whole new episode only on that. Now, director Zhang Yimou focuses his whole narrative on 5 colors: black, white, red, green, and blue. 5 colors used in both scenery and clothing, and somehow symbolizing the mental states of the characters and their fate, as well as the fate of the empire. Now, the way a subject is framed and the camera angle play also a crucial role in conveying the intended message or emotion and perspective in a film. Now, here we see how director Patrick Tom Ka-Ming exquisitely shot and framed his scenes. In this scene, he injects almost like a horror movie ambience with the assassin framed on the ceiling. And in this one, you have the villain highlighted in a dark red light, with the screen then transitioning into complete red. When we talk about camera angles and framing, it's also worthwhile mentioning how director Chor Yuen placed elements around the boundaries of the screen space, and also some overlapping elements that broke the frame into multiple frames, often obscuring the view of the actual sword fight that was happening. Now, this created the effect that the audience is almost like spying from a hidden location, which I found really intriguing when I saw his films for the first time. The obscuring of the action could also somehow be a metaphor for what martial arts is actually based on.
Martial art is based on deception, my friend.
Now, wuxia characters often originate from the lower social classes, so usually they do not serve any lord or belong to aristocracy. The personal code of honor we mentioned in the introduction requires them to fight for what's right, and rid people from oppression. Now, these strong ethical values our heroes represent are called the Xia spirit, which is that Xia character in the word Wuxia. And this stems from the various beliefs in Chinese culture, such as Confucianism, Taoism, and Buddhism.
现在你可以走了吧。
Now, in Dragon Inn and Touch of Zen, the main characters protect the families of virtuous officials wronged by corrupt people, demonstrating, their loyalty to Confucian civil thought in that way. Now, in line with Taoist values, Wuxia characters value loyalty over wealth and power. But Buddhism is also omnipresent in Wuxia films, as the heroes always bear a kind heart and don't hurt innocent people. They always stand up for the weak and the poor whenever they see injustice, and never ask for anything in return. Ultimately, the ethical angle is all about choice and decisions we make in life. So when I was a teenager, that resonated a lot with me when I watched these movies.
我看过。
世上的人其实都跟蜘蛛一样，每个人都在结网，等网结好了，就把自己一辈子都网在网中。我们以前所做的每一件事，为情的，为爱的，为朋友的，为自己的，都像一条丝一条丝一样的缠着自己，而自己就在网里面一直困着，怎么逃也逃不出来。有些人叫这个网做命运。
表哥，你为什么还要回来？
命运。
And it's also quite interesting to see that sometimes the initially evil characters will be torn by their conscience and want to turn their life for the better.
不过生未必乐，死未必苦。
那是我第一次见到露珠。
你就是细雨吧？我将晨昏为你诵经宵夜，并求佛从发愿，让你了悟能断，能断一切法，能断世间一切痛苦，脱离苦海，而登彼岸。
能断？你断得了吗？哪家寺庙敢帮你提度，我就把寺里的老少大小全部杀光。
若你能放下手中这把剑，离开这条道，我愿是你杀的最后一人。
大夫，给我一张普通的脸吧，我只求从此隐居市井， 过平凡人的生活。
All of this goes back to the old question, what will you do when you have power? You stand up for what's right, or will you be corrupted by easy money?
的武林盟主，我们大风堂到底胜利了。
胜利。司空三叔，到底这一次，我们大风堂死的人多，还是唐家堡死的人多？武林盟主，我不想做。我爱的人都死光了，我的朋友也死得差不多了。如果以后还有什么武林的斗争，我已经没有人可以牺牲了。
Now, when our heroes achieve their objective, they tend to retire in the woods, far from the turbulent world of the Jianghu.
当你看腻了江湖的恩恩怨怨、是非名利之后，我相信也一定会到这里来。
The suspense and momentum building, paired with the jaw-dropping swordplay choreography, is really what I feel creates that unique intensity in wuxia films. I love the way momentum is built in wuxia films. It's not just a full-on brawl that starts out straight away, but a progressive build-up. Often scenes are set in small closed environments, as the inns in Kung Hu's films, right? And the opponents would first talk it out in a very composed manner before unleashing a sudden impactful action scene onto the audience. And all of that is often accompanied by great musical score.
我老婆是你们打伤的，
是又如何？
看你们的样子，今天很难善了了，真的不能放他一马。
你先死还是他先死？
谁要先死，那也难说得很。
这也叫剑？
我这把剑磨一下就好。
您这磨刀也太迟了吧？
不迟，一点也不迟。
好了，别费事了。一针海枕，一针巨斧，死得一点也不疼。
你没有死过，怎么会知道一点也不疼呢？你的飞针手重突袭，在户外临敌比较有胜算。屋里这么窄，用飞针我看不太方便。
Now, when I was a kid, I grew up watching lots of spaghetti westerns and sword and sorcery flicks from the US and Italy. So this is what I thought cool sword fight action would look like. Until I saw this. The sword fight choreography I witnessed in that film absolutely mesmerized me. King Hu's films were what got me hooked, my first touch point for Wuxia films, and one of the first for Chinese cinema overall. But those were from the 60s. New Hong Kong wave director Patrick Ka-Ming and the action choreographer Siu-Tung took the level of beauty, speed, and intricacy in a sword fight to an unprecedented level. Patrick Tam had a preference for rapid editing and to shoot in close shots, which made the action stand out and feel much more confined to the opponents. And then Tam would only use wider shots to highlight the wire work scenes. Now, his action choreographer Siu-Tung was so outstanding with what he delivered that 3 years later Golden Harvest gave him a chance to direct his own wuxia masterpiece, Duel to the Death. And here again we are spoiled with astonishing and fast-paced on-screen swordsmanship that is definitely second to none up to now. In 1992, Siu-Tung would choreograph Moon Warriors together with Chor Yuen. Legendary Sammo Hung was in the director's seat. And 1 year later, Sammo will also add another swordplay extravaganza to Hong Kong film history, Blade of Fury. And this time, he not only directed but also choreographed and had a cameo. The trademark fast-paced action scenes from his hand-to-hand combat films is also very elegantly transferred to the swordplay genre, as we can see from this captivating fight. Now, if those scenes haven't knocked you off your ass, excuse my English, then I don't know what will. So that was it from my side on how I see wuxia films. I hope you enjoyed it, and I would be glad to hear from you in the comment section what you feel about this exciting and unique film genre yourself. See you at the next episode.
塵俗世